The assessment. The research vessel Zenith Explorer hung in orbit around the unassuming blue-green planet, its passive scanners drinking in data from the world below. Inside the ship's primary observation deck, Research Director Claxa adjusted her multifaceted optical receptors and let out a sound that her species used to indicate profound disappointment. "This is what we've traveled 17 parsecs to study," she chittered, mandibles clicking in frustration. "They don't even have a unified planetary government. Their atmosphere is poisoned with their own waste. Half their landmass is uninhabitable due to their primitive energy production methods." Senior xenobiologist Vreth moved closer to the viewing portal, his translucent skin rippling with the neural patterns that indicated deep thought. The Galactic survey flagged this species for additional study. There must be something here we're missing. The survey also classified the flopping amphibians of Rigel IV as a potential threat, scoffed Security Officer Draz, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under the observation deck's lights. "We spent 3 cycles monitoring them before determining they were merely territorial, not dangerous." "Still," Vreth insisted, consulting his data tablet, "the preliminary reports are unusual. This species, these humans, have achieved spaceflight and primitive AI, despite still engaging in tribal warfare. That combination alone warrants study." Flaxa waved a dismissive appendage. "Fine. We'll follow protocol. 7 days of observation, then we move on to more promising subjects." None of them could have predicted that those 7 days would fundamentally change galactic security doctrine forever. On the 3rd day of observation, the research team deployed their cloaked drones to gather closer data on human population centers. The information they collected was inconsistent with any known evolutionary pattern. "I don't understand," Vreth muttered, reviewing footage from a human training facility. "They deliberately damaged their muscle tissues to strengthen them. They exposed themselves to environmental extremes for entertainment, and their medical technology focuses on keeping the terminally ill alive rather than improving genetic viability." "Perhaps they're simply irrational," offered Claxa, though her confidence was showing signs of wavering. "Many pre-unification species exhibit counterproductive behaviors." "That doesn't explain this," Vreth said, displaying images of humans performing what appeared to be recreational activities. "These are not warriors, yet they're voluntarily jumping from high altitudes with minimal safety equipment. Here, this one is lifting 3 times its body weight. And this group is subjecting themselves to extreme heat for no apparent reason other than to experience the discomfort." Security Officer Draz, who had been quietly observing, suddenly spoke. "Them Claxi." Claxa and Vreth turned to him, confusion evident in their postures. "The what?" Claxa asked. "Them Claxi," Draz repeated. "A warrior species from the outer rim that went extinct 5,000 cycles ago. They engineered themselves to feel pleasure from pain, transforming their entire species into unstoppable warriors. They were wiped out by a coalition of 16 advanced civilizations, and all research on their physiological adaptations was destroyed." He pointed at the humans on the screen. "These creatures exhibit similar traits, not as extreme, but the pattern is there." Vreth's skin paled to near transparency. "That's impossible. The probability of such traits evolving naturally is virtually zero." Draz finished for him. Yet here we are. On the 5th day, the observation team witnessed an event that elevated their concern to genuine alarm. One of their drones had been monitoring a remote human facility in a frozen region of the planet when a catastrophic explosion occurred. The structure collapsed, trapping 27 humans in sub-freezing temperatures with toxic chemicals leaking into their air supply. "They're finished," Claxa stated flatly. "Even if they survive the initial collapse, the temperature alone will kill them within hours." The team watched, expecting to document the species' response to the deaths, valuable anthropological data. Instead, they witnessed something unprecedented. Other humans arrived, walking directly into the hazardous environment with only primitive protective gear. They dug through collapsed structures with their bare hands when tools failed, When their breathing apparatus ran out of air, several continued working, their respiratory systems somehow adapting to the toxic atmosphere for brief periods. "This is not possible," Vreth whispered, his skin now pulsing with patterns of deep distress. One human, half buried in rubble, with what scans indicated were multiple fractures to its skeletal structure, somehow freed itself and then proceeded to help rescue others before collapsing hours later. 17, Draz noted when it was over. 17 survivors out of 27, in conditions that should have been 100% fatal. Klax's mandibles trembled. The question is no longer whether they're dangerous. The question is how dangerous. By the 7th day, the research vessel had compiled enough data to justify an emergency transmission to Galactic Survey Headquarters. The team had discovered patterns that defied conventional threat assessment. Their physical capabilities, while impressive, aren't what concern me most, Vreth explained as they prepared their report. It's their psychological makeup. On the main display, the xenobiologist had arranged a series of human behavioral analyses. Most species expand until they reach resource limits, then establish equilibrium, he continued. Humans push past those limits through technological innovation driven by. He paused, searching for the right term. Spite. Spite. Klaxa repeated. When told something is impossible, they become more determined to accomplish it, Vreth clarified. They call it proving others wrong or rising to a challenge. They deliberately set goals beyond their current capabilities, then force themselves to evolve, technologically or physically, to meet those impossible standards. Draz had been running combat simulations based on observed human military tactics. Their warfare is equally disturbing. They sacrifice strategic advantage for single individuals. They'd value what they call honor over efficiency. Yet somehow, these seeming weaknesses make them more effective, not less. And this, Vreth added, displaying chemical analyses of human biological processes. Their bodies contain fungi, bacteria, and viruses, billions of them, that they live in symbiosis with. Their immune systems don't eliminate these invaders. They incorporate them. In essence, each human is a walking biological collective. Klaxa stared at the data in silence before finally speaking. Draft the report. Priority 1. And add my personal recommendation that all contact with this species be avoided until the Galactic Security Council can develop appropriate containment protocols. As Vreth began compiling their findings, a sensor alert flashed on the main console. Draz moved to investigate, his body suddenly going rigid. "Director," he said, his voice unnaturally calm, "we're being scanned." "Impossible," Klaxa replied. "Our cloaking technology is being actively probed by multiple signals from the planet's surface," Draz interrupted. "The humans have detected us." On the main viewer, tiny points of light began ascending from the planet's surface. Primitive spacecraft, dozens of them, all converging on the Zenith Explorer's position. "How?" Vreth whispered. "Their sensor technology shouldn't be capable of." "It doesn't matter how," Klaxa snapped. "Activate emergency protocols. Prepare for immediate withdrawal." As the research vessel's engines hummed to life, Draz received one final data packet from the surface. His eyes widened as he decoded it. "Director," he said, his voice now trembling. "They're sending us a message. In perfect galactic standard." The message appeared on the main screen, 5 simple words that would change the course of galactic history. "We've been watching you too." The reckoning. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Security Council fell silent as Research Director Klaxa concluded the preliminary briefing. 53 representatives from the most powerful civilizations in known space sat in stunned silence, their varied physiologies all displaying signs of distress. High Counselor Zorn, an ancient being of pure energy contained within an ornate metallic shell, was the first to speak. "You expect us to believe," Zorn began, his voice resonating through the chamber, "that a pre-unification species not only detected your research vessel despite our most advanced cloaking technology, but had also been aware of galactic civilization for some time. Without our knowledge. Klax's mandibles clicked nervously. The evidence is conclusive, High Counselor. Their message was in perfect galactic standard. When we attempted emergency withdrawal, they deployed primitive but effective countermeasures that temporarily disabled our propulsion systems. And then they just let you go, asked Representative Thel of the Vosarian Republic, her feathered crest rising in skepticism. Yes, confirmed Security Officer Draz, stepping forward. They established a communication link and informed us that they considered our observation harmless research and had no hostile intent. They provided a data packet as a gesture of good faith and requested formal diplomatic contact. Xenobiologist Vreth activated the chamber's central holographic projector. The data packet contained this. Above the council floor materialized detailed schematics of the Zenith Explorer, not just its external configuration, but its internal systems, crew quarters, and even classified weapons installations. Impossible, whispered one council member. They've had operatives aboard our vessel, stated another. Worse, Vreth corrected. The data signature indicates this information was extracted remotely through scanning technologies we believed impossible at their development stage. High Counselor Zorn's containment shell pulsed with agitation. If what you're saying is true, why wasn't this species flagged for containment protocols centuries ago? Because they deliberately concealed their true capabilities, Draz explained. The human settlements and technologies we observed were real, but they represented only a fraction of their actual development. We've since detected evidence of massive underground installations and orbital platforms using advanced camouflage technologies. A murmur of alarm spread through the chamber. Show them, Klaxa instructed. Vreth hesitated, then activated the second data file. The hologram shifted to display historical footage, surveillance recordings from dozens of planets across multiple sectors spanning hundreds of cycles. Each showed evidence of human presence, modified equipment, unidentified signal transmissions, and in some cases, beings that appeared to be native species but moved with distinctly human mannerisms. They've been studying us, Vreth explained, his translucent skin now almost white with stress. For centuries, possibly millennia. They developed faster than light travel, long before we detected their first primitive orbital satellites. The technological advancement we observed on their homeworld was an elaborate facade. The chamber erupted in chaos as council members shouted questions and demands for explanations. High Counselor Zorn raised his metallic appendages, calling for order. If this species is as advanced and duplicitous as you claim, Zorn stated once the chamber quieted, why reveal themselves now? Why not continue their covert observation? Before the research team could answer, the chamber's security systems activated. Proximity alarms blared as the main entrance portal dilated open. Two figures entered, bipedal, clothed in simple gray garments that seemed to shift and flow with their movements. Unmistakably human. The Council security forces moved to intercept them, energy weapons charging, but the humans made no aggressive moves. One raised a hand in what appeared to be a peaceful gesture. Your weapons aren't necessary, the human said, in perfect galactic standard with no translation device visible. We come under diplomatic protection, as guaranteed by Section 7 of your own interspecies contact protocols. The second human, female according to their dimorphic characteristics, stepped forward. I am Ambassador Helena Chen of the Earth Confederation. My colleague is Security Attaché Marcus Okafor. We apologize for our unorthodox arrival, but we felt this conversation had progressed to a point where direct dialogue would be more productive. High Counselor Zorn's containment shell flashed with patterns indicating extreme agitation. How did you bypass our security systems? This chamber is protected by technologies we helped design, Ambassador Chen interrupted smoothly. Through shell corporations and proxy species, human engineers have been contributing to galactic technological development for approximately 300 of your cycles. The revelation sent another shock wave of murmurs through the chamber. Why? Demanded Representative Thel. If you possess such advanced technology, why conceal yourselves? Why the deception? Security Attaché Okafor answered, his voice deep and measured. Self-preservation. The first alien vessel to visit Earth, long before your records begin, came with weapons, not diplomacy. We defended ourselves, studied their technology, and realized the galaxy was far more populous and dangerous than we had imagined. So you infiltrated us, accused a council member from the back of the chamber. We observed, corrected Ambassador Chen. We learned. And yes, we established contingencies. Would you have done differently, discovering you were not alone in the universe through an attempted invasion? Before anyone could respond, xenobiologist Threth stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his fear. Your physical capabilities, he said, the adaptations we observed, your resilience to environmental extremes, your pain tolerance, are these natural evolutionary traits or engineered? Ambassador Chen smiled. Both. Humans evolved on what you would classify as a death world. Extreme temperature variations, high gravity, diverse pathogens, and numerous apex predators. We developed redundant biological systems, exceptional endurance, and psychological traits that prioritized survival at all costs. Later, as our technology advanced, we refined these natural advantages. Your warriors, stated Security Officer Draz, his assessment professional despite his evident unease. We're survivors, corrected Attaché Okafor. There's a difference. Warriors seek conflict. Survivors prepare for it, but prefer cooperation. High Counselor Zorn's containment shell had stabilized, indicating he had processed the shock and was now analyzing the situation strategically. What do you want from this council? He asked directly. Ambassador Chen moved to the center of the chamber, where the holographic projector illuminated her features. The chamber systems, responding to unknown commands, displayed a new set of images, star maps, trade routes, defense installations. We want what we've always wanted, she said. Peace, prosperity, and security. We've identified 17 Level 5 threats to galactic stability that your council remains unaware of. We've neutralized 3 already. The others require coordinated action. The images shifted to show civilizations unknown to the council. Some beautiful, some terrifying, all clearly advanced beyond current galactic standards. Beyond the borders of your known space, Chen continued, there are entities that would view your most powerful weapons as primitive curiosities. Some are benevolent. Many are not. Humanity has been preparing for these threats while you've been debating whether we should be allowed to join your community. You propose an alliance? Asked Representative Thel, her skepticism evident. We propose survival, Attaché Okafor stated firmly. Yours and ours. For several moments, the chamber remained silent as the council members absorbed the implications. Finally, High Counselor Zorn spoke. Even if what you say is true, how can we trust a species that has deceived us for centuries? That has infiltrated our most secure systems and technologies. Ambassador Chen's expression softened. Because we could have conquered you centuries ago, but chose coexistence instead. Because despite your fear of our capabilities, we're standing here unarmed, offering partnership rather than demanding submission. She gestured toward the research team. Your scientists correctly identified what makes humans dangerous, our resilience, our adaptability, our determination. But they missed what makes us valuable allies, our capacity for empathy, our creativity, and our willingness to sacrifice for causes greater than ourselves. Attaché Okafor stepped forward. You fear us because we're warriors, but that's precisely why you need us. The threats beyond your borders don't follow your protocols or honor your diplomatic credentials. They understand only strength and determination, qualities humanity has refined over millennia of fighting for our existence. High Counselor Zorn's containment shell pulsed with patterns indicating deep calculation. You've presented us with an impossible choice. Reject your offer and potentially face these alleged threats alone, or accept and place our security in the hands of a species that has already proven capable of circumventing our most advanced protections. Ambassador Chen nodded solemnly. There is a third option. Come to Earth. Send your scientists, your cultural experts, your security specialists. Study us openly, as we studied you. Let us show you who we truly are, beyond the warrior capabilities that frighten you. She extended her hand, a human gesture of peace. Judge us by our actions, not our potential for violence. Every species in this chamber evolved through conflict and survival. Humans simply remember our origins more clearly than most. As the council members exchanged uncertain glances, Research Director Claxa stepped forward, her posture now showing determination rather than fear. I volunteer to lead the delegation to Earth, she announced, surprising even her own team. I've seen what humans are capable of when threatened. I want to see what they're capable of as allies. One by one, other council members indicated their willingness to participate, curiosity overcoming caution. High Counselor Zorn's containment shell finally settled into a pattern indicating reluctant agreement. Very well. A delegation will be assembled. But know this, humans, you will be watched carefully. Ambassador Chen smiled. We would expect nothing less. After all, careful observation is how humanity survived this long. As the formal procedures for establishing diplomatic relations began, Security Officer Draz moved close to xenobiologist Vreth. Do you believe them? He whispered. About these threats beyond our borders. Vreth's skin rippled with patterns of uncertainty. I don't know, but I believe one thing with absolute certainty now. What's that? That the most terrifying quality of humans isn't their capacity for violence, Vreth replied, watching Ambassador Chen skillfully navigate the diplomatic protocols she shouldn't have known. It's their capacity for foresight. They've been playing a game spanning centuries while we've been reacting to events day by day. Draz considered this, then nodded slowly. Let's hope we've just gained the galaxy's most terrifying warriors as allies then. Indeed, agreed Vreth. Because I suspect we're about to discover just how dangerous the universe truly is.